Excuse me, begging your indulgence, sir. I'm a wealthy foreign dignitary, and I would like your help moving a vast sum of money into this country. I will let you keep most of it, but I would like to have some of it back, too. Please take this certified cashier's check as a portion of the transaction.
Get lost.
Scams like these don't work as well in person. That's why most of them are done online.
My name is Bill Hamill, and the idea came to me spontaneously to have a show called Wisdom and Song. If anybody out there has ideas the way I have, something different than the regular run-of-the-mill TV that we see every day. For example, who gets on TV and talks about wisdom? And who gets on and tries to sing old-fashioned songs that are not popular? I do. And this is what makes it interesting for me, and what makes it more beautiful, because the truth is beauty and beauty is truth. And I hope...
Hi! Welcome to another exciting edition of the unrehearsed Cambridge InsideOut, the sequel. My name is Robert Winters, and to my far left,
Susanna Segat, and we're hosting today's very special show, 1 week till Election Day. How exciting is that?
Thank goodness, yes.
right.
So, we have someone here with us. We want to introduce you to Dennis Carlone. He is running for City Council. And would you want to tell them a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I've been a consultant to the City of Cambridge for 30 years. I did the East Cambridge Riverfront Plan. That's the redevelopment of the Leechmere Canal area, the 40 acres. And I'm an architect urban designer. I've been in private practice in Cambridge for over 35 years and have enjoyed being here. This is my home for 40 years.
Okay, so you've been here 40 years, you've been practicing for 35. Why are you running this year? What compelled you?
By the way, I've always been curious about that phrase, practicing. It makes it seem as though
He hasn't gotten
you're
it
not
right
quite
yet?
ready to
Yeah, he's gotten it right.
Well, that's
I don't want to be
No, that's a big, we could discuss. That's a very interesting truth about it. I've had my own business for 35 years in architecture and urban design. But I have been practicing all my life just to be here today.
So the language police are cool now.
No,
Yeah,
that's good.
unfortunately it's
Good
live,
point.
so it's practicing doesn't do us any good.
So the
why are you
question
running?
was, why am I running?
Yes.
Well, this is interesting. I'm a real believer in planning. The East Cambridge Riverfront Plan that I mentioned to you, I worked on for a long time, and it was the redevelopment of 40 acres of wasteland in East Cambridge, right on the river. And we went to the neighborhood and said, what are your issues, the historic neighborhood? And after I was told that this is a difficult group, you might have some interesting issues, and they wanted everything anybody wanted. They wanted more open space, get the trucks out of the neighborhood, parking resolved, things like that, historic preservation. And we did all that as part of the master plan of the redevelopment of the riverfront. And all of that's done, and the end result has been called National Model for Redevelopment, not by me, but by the federal government.
Okay.
And on top of that, only 3 neighborhoods in the whole country supported major development next door, and it turns out East Cambridge was one of them. That's what real planning is. You integrate the needs of not just business or not just neighborhood, but both. And I think that could be improved in the city, and that's why I'm running.
Okay, well, so clearly you can do it without being on the council.
Well, yes, but you have to be hired to do it. I stopped being a consultant at my own discretion. I reached the point after 30 years where I felt it wasn't as productive. But on the council, if you know the 4 and I know you both do, the 4 responsibilities of councilors, it's hire, fire, city manager. That's been done. It's approving the budget, very important. But the last 2 responsibilities are development oriented. That's approving zoning and even curb cuts, as benign as that. Yet no one on the council has a development background, planning, architecture, urban design. I have all of those, and I'm at the point in my life, I'm 66. What do I want to do with the next few years? And this seems like it's needed. And I could talk more about that, but I'm sure you have other questions.
Robert?
Not so many questions. I mean, I was going to make a comment that what I remember about the old wasteland in the old days was the muck of the old Leechmere Canal,
That's right.
and going down there to go to Warehouse Liquors.
You hit it. That was the most active use
Damn it.
down there. Leechmere Sales was there.
Leechmere?
But
Or as
Warehouse
Alvalucci used to call it, it should be pronounced Lechmer.
He
used to always say that.
historically, he's right. I've
right.
been told that was correct, but nobody does it. He didn't even do it.
So nowadays, I think the Historical Commission would have been brought in to landmark Warehouse Liquor, don't you think?
Well, you know what's interesting? They took the metal siding off Warehouse Liquors during demolition, and it was a nicer building underneath. They made it look cheap.
Yeah.
It was pretty interesting.
Well, actually, that's sort of a sign of the times. I mean, I'm sure you've seen a lot of buildings, interior buildings, where they put in drop ceilings.
Exactly,
And then,
exactly.
You know, it was like a psychosis that overtook the nation in the early 60s,
That's
I
right.
think. And then, you know, when I was coming here, everybody was, you know, taking the wall-to-wall carpets up and putting in restoring the finished floors and taking down drop ceilings.
Yes.
It always seems better underneath.
You know, even some Harvard buildings, famous Harvard building that will go unknown, had a drop ceiling.
Really?
And when that was taken out, it was remarkable what was up above.
Well, they
But,
preserved it.
That's right. In a way, it did preserve it. It didn't get wrecked. But the interesting thing about the riverfront was that there were industrial buildings there, but half of them were empty during the
Yeah,
same time.
yeah.
And I can say now a thriving business could not get a mortgage for a new addition because the area was so depressed. But that just meant positive things had to happen, and that's what we achieved.
Okay, so,
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I still remember there was some controversy. I remember there was a big thing up at City Hall where there was one section that was called The Front.
Yes.
Where there'd been like an eminent domain taking, I think,
Yes,
was it?
yeah.
That eventually the city had to settle for because,
Well, this is the whole public taking question.
always a risk.
Yeah, and usually it's the value of the property at the time, but the lawyer who came back for the owner said, no, it's the improved
Yeah.
value. Well, frankly, that's ridiculous.
I know, we gave them a gift.
That's exactly right. And unfortunately, that made the city feel like we better not take any more land, even though it
think
was
that's
for a
right.
good cause. But what was interesting, what you might not know, is the front was originally a plan by Olmsted
Oh, I didn't
for
know
a
it went back
park-
that far.
for a park there with
Yep.
a beach.
Yep, I
And
remember.
it was drawn, and the city owned that whole stretch and sold it to the industry and Hotel Sineste
Now, isn't
after
this
World War II.
Was this one of the sections where Alvalucci would tell the story
Yes.
where they would put up victory gardens
Yes,
during the
it
war?
was the Victory Gardens, and he wanted to have rose gardens down there. And funny story that you both would like is whenever we showed people the plan, the original plan, I had a photograph of Lake Geneva's fountain, which is what we replicated, and I would say, and this is the Winters fountain or the Sagat fountain.
Good salesmanship.
And we said this was the Vellucci fountain, and he was the only one who believed us. And what is it called now?
The Vellucci Fountain.
That's right. So he got his way, but it
Well,
was,
that's Al.
but it worked. It
I'm
worked.
surprised we haven't changed the name of Cambridge to Vellucciville.
Well, in time, in time.
all right, so I have a human interest question.
Sure.
How have you liked being a candidate? What's it been like? Tell us some juicy stories.
They don't have to be that.
Should this involve the two of you in the description of this? No, I'm kidding.
No.
You know, I've always loved working with people. And, you know, I know people say that. Everybody says that. But I love meeting people. Even when I walked around the
Yeah.
corner and you were working in your garden when I was, Susanna would not take one of my palm cards, rightfully so.
Well, you know
No,
why.
no, I know why.
Why?
Because you're a journalist.
Nope.
No?
Because I wanted to save you those
Oh, the palm
25
card?
cents.
Well, you
'Cause
know,
I already
actually,
had read it.
Actually,
You know,
I
the
have
street
one.
value of these is going way down in about 8 days.
Less
thing
than a
is-
week.
Move that
I already
merchandise.
knew about
Maybe
you.
it's already going down. But I do love meeting people. I love coffee groups when there's like 10 to 12 people. And, you know, it's exactly what I do in urban design and architecture. I love meeting people and hearing contrasting opinions and bringing consensus, because that's the fun part.
Right.
And it's been very supportive. You know, the hardest part, which is part of your question, is this morning I was out in Central Square handing these cards out.
It was cold.
And it was unbelievably cold. The wind was very strong, and so many people don't even look at you. And it's not me, it's the other counselors who are out there too. But that's hard, especially in the beginning. That
Yeah.
was hard. But now I'm used to it.
Yeah, and your
Now I'm
fingers get
mature.
cold,
And mine in
and
particular.
the cold goes up your shoes to your toes.
It wasn't fun.
Cruel.
It wasn't fun. I did meet a few new people who stopped, some brave souls.
All right, you didn't know that there was going to be a quiz question.
No, I expected. I was hoping.
All right, the quiz question, this is my way of sneaking in useless information. What is the current total of registered voters in Cambridge?
Oh.
Well,
Very
you know,
sneaky.
I haven't met all of them. So I don't know exactly. I do know the amount who voted were about 17,000 or so. And I know that is approximately 30%, if I remember correctly, of the number of registered voters. So times 3, it's about 50,000, I would say. Maybe 48,751.
Well, hold on, let me guess.
Okay,
We were trying to figure out how many people voted for the 5th Congressional District.
all right.
And we saw that in the 5th Congressional District, there were 30,000 people registered. And that's half the district, so I'm at 70,000.
Susanna, you would, if this was a serious quiz show, you'd get the little Cupid doll.
Yes,
You
I'm
didn't
sorry.
go over
I'm
it,
sorry, Dennis.
But the
We should-
correct answer as of this past Friday.
Oh, I didn't know you meant this Friday.
Oh, whoa, well.
No, go
Oh,
ahead.
you meant 1946.
Yeah,
I'm
it
sure.
was- well,
You know, I
that's-
do like history.
Now,
I
you
know
know
you
that
do. I've
part of the
heard that
show
you're
is
the
you're
historian.
supposed to make your guests look good, so.
That's right.
Yeah,
I'm
I
really sorry.
appreciate that.
No, let me tell you, it's actually sort of good because I was looking at this and I was guessing, well, I knew it had been creeping up and I thought, it's got to be sort of around 60,000, I thought, because I knew it was like 50 some odd thousand, maybe a little bit more.
Well, what is it?
70,618. To the
Wow.
best of my knowledge, the number of registered voters in this city has never been this high.
Oh, that's encouraging.
So out of 101,000, 70,000.
105.
Well,
What's the
Just
population?
71%?
I think it's a little bit risky. It's about 107,000.
Yes, that's right.
But the thing
Oh,
is, it
107.
makes it a little
Yeah.
tricky
Doesn't
because
count.
of the motor voter law. It's guaranteed that some of the registered voters aren't here anymore. So sometimes the more appropriate number is what they call the active voters, the ones who
Yes.
have filled out the census and whatever. Now, granted, there are some people who are going to be listed as inactive voters who will in fact be voting, right? There always are, but it's still sort of a pretty decent measure of what's correct. So in that sense, you said 50?
Yes.
There are
This is more
50,310
No,
active
you're
voters.
just making me
Alright.
look good.
That's
So
our job.
both of
Oh, I'm
us
so
were
happy
right.
about that.
See, we can have both people be
Thank
correct.
you, Robert.
You know,
Right,
you're
What a
very
classy
good with
guy.
you're very good with numbers. You
Well,
should consider that.
Yeah, you know, I might make a profession out of it. But here's the interesting thing about that. Even with the active voters, the number of active voters in the 2 years ago was 43,844. So it's
Interesting.
actually jumped, even the number of active voters has jumped considerably.
Interesting.
So that means that you have many more people from whom to take that number one.
Well, actually, we did generate another 7,000 people signing up in the last 2 weeks. No, I'm kidding.
No, I know that that's
wasn't
not
me.
true
No, I
because-
knew you knew.
Because the fact, the total number of people who have registered since October 1st
That's really
is an additional
encouraging.
768
Oh,
voters.
okay.
And most of them
I was off by a
are
digit.
Harvard students. There's been a serious canvassing going there. But I'm reminded of something that I think Leland told me from 4 years ago when he first ran. You know, he had done this major voter registration drive, and he said
Yes.
after the election, when we looked at the voter history file to see who actually voted, most of the people who registered hadn't actually voted.
Yes. Yeah,
So,
he told me that as
Yeah,
well.
candidates shouldn't look upon a registration.
Oh,
as a
there goes
vote.
that 700. Really counting on it.
Right.
So do you have a targeted number of people you need number ones from? I mean, what's your campaign?
Wait, no,
How is it
the
set
first
up?
question is, how many people you think are gonna vote this time?
Vote for
We're
me?
taking a
Vote
lot
for
of.
everybody.
Oh,
Yeah,
for
total-
How many are
total,
gonna vote?
Total, what'll be the voter turnout?
I
Well,
think-
that determines
Is
how many
that-
number ones he needs.
And it was about 16,000 last time.
Yeah, it'll be 19,047.
You going over 19? 19?
Well, that's the year I was born. I
well.
was trying to.
19,047 is good. I like that.
Wow, you were born in the future.
Well, that means that you need how many number ones? That divided
Well,
by?
Then I need 1948. It's when my
Round
wife
up.
was born.
Exactly. Right.
she'll be
When
really
you
happy
run
you said
when you
that.
run for the first time, you don't know a lot, and I've learned an enormous amount. But I'm optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic, like any challenger, and we've had good reaction to all our gatherings, and people are supporting us. So I know there's going to be change. I actually think there'll be 3 new counselors.
That's the probability
Right,
historically.
exactly. Oh, that's right. I'm by the one who probably told us that. And so I am optimistic, and I'm always optimistic that you can't be in urban design architecture without that, and you can't be in politics without that. So,
Okay, one more piece of gossip I need.
okay, I am dating somebody right now.
And that is,
Oh, the slate.
what's this slate thing?
Yeah, I saw one of your earlier shows when someone was questioning what it was all about. For some time, a number of us, and some people not on the slate, have been talking about forming a slate. And this slate with Janicki House and the Mazin are put together,
It's the 3 of you.
the 3 of us.
Uh-huh.
And we did talk to some other people, and frankly, after the slate was announced, a number of other candidates came up and said, why didn't you talk to us, interestingly. So there must be some power to it. But what brought us together were 3 issues, and that is the need to empower the community more. I mentioned East Cambridge in my experience and what a positive experience that was. But the council at one time did pay for small pricing or printing costs and did give assistance to the councils. And I think that can, handled properly, that can be extremely positive, because who are the experts of the neighborhoods but the neighborhood? Number 2, it's the comprehensive master plan. That if you don't know where you're going, you're going to get there without a master plan. And I'm not saying everything's got to stop. We did a master plan in East Cambridge, and everybody knew what was going to get built. You ask anybody, planning boards, city staff, neighborhoods, nobody knows what's getting built. No, there is no realization, no drawing of what zoning means. And zoning doesn't include open space, it doesn't include transportation. Zoning is not a master plan. In fact, I'm quoting somebody from April Fools.
Yeah.
And you were right, although I've heard some people think that you were serious when you said that zoning
And
was the
number
master.
3?
And number 3 is pre-primary education, the focus on early education. And my thesis was on a pre-primary education for culturally deprived kids. And if there's one thing missing in this great city, it's that, an emphasis on that. And we can do that. We're the wealthiest city in the Commonwealth, the lowest taxes in the Commonwealth.
Well, thank you so much for telling us this and coming by. If you have 30 seconds left, what do you want people to know?
Well,
What do you want them to do?
what I want you to do is vote for me, number 1, in the slate 2 and 3. There's no question on that. But all I'm asking for is to plan our future. Everything else we do, we plan. It just doesn't happen by happenstance. And the city can be developed further by fitting in and enhancing what's there. It doesn't have to dramatically change that. It can be, we can still have dense development, it's just the way it's done. And the goal should be integration. And that can be done. We did it in East Cambridge. It can be done elsewhere.
That's great.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you both.
Tell everyone your name and the number 1 story and all
I'm
that.
still Dennis Carlone, and I do need your number 1 vote. Challengers have a harder fight to get in there. If you believe an architect, urban designer should be on the council that basically sets the table on zoning, then you need somebody like me, and I'm the only one running. Take care. Wish you well.
Okay,
Alrighty.
don't go away. He's going away, but you're not. So, what are we going to do? We're going to put in this very fancy technological thing here. We're going to put Dennis's picture up
Right.
right here. Here
And
we
then
go.
we'll fade out.
And then,
Thank you.
See you in a bit.
Wish you well,
so
Robert.
Take it easy.
if you need more information, he's at Carlone, CARLONE, FORCOUNCIL.com. Thank you so much for coming by, Dennis, and best of luck. And we
Pleasure.
hope to see you election night.
Oh, I'll be there.
Excellent.
Take care. Thank you.
Oh, here, take your card.
All right.
Thank you so much. Okay. Now back to Robert. Hello, Robert.
So our first half hour tonight is apparently going to become the Dennis and Dennis show, actually, because there are 2 candidates named Dennis. And if I'm not mistaken, our next guest is the second Dennis.
Oh, he's here? Excellent.
I believe he's here.
Let me get this card out here.
Yeah, pull up the card and bring him on in.
Hold on. Oh my gosh. So next, come on in. We have Dennis Benzan, Benzan, for those of you who haven't seen this bumper sticker or little button.
Right.
And here he is.
By the way, Dennis, you know I cropped that picture out of another ad from you from a while back.
Oh, wow. I hope I still look the same.
Nah, you're looking fine.
Welcome. I hope we didn't keep you waiting. We didn't see you out there.
No, I was in the front chatting with some of the folks here. Yeah, a lot of great people. here.
Great.
This is
Great.
the acclimated to the campaign
Yes,
thing,
yes,
always
yes.
working out here, right? Now,
And I actually live right around the corner from here.
oh yeah,
It's
that's
like
right.
my backyard.
That's absolutely true. Now, Dennis, you know there was one
But we
thing.
like this backyard.
Yes, yes.
So this is Dennis Benzan, candidate for city council, just in case that's not entirely clear. Now, you know there was one demand I made of you back at the Old Timers game.
Oh,
okay?
I don't think I met
was
you
that?
there.
Oh boy, I don't know.
I'm
What's the
signing off on the
Old-Timers
wrong
game?
track.
Well, up at Steve Buckley's baseball game, you know, which is sort of the place to be in August. Dennis, I asked Dennis because he and I, we have one thing very much in common, which is that we both love our older vehicles. Mine is a 1979 Volkswagen bus, and
Have
Dennis
you seen it,
is.
Susan?
No.
All right, I'm going to show it.
Well, that now
Well,
might not
no,
be the
just
right time.
Tell the folks, Dennis, what kind of car do you drive?
So I'm a classic car lover, and I have a 1966 Mustang convertible.
Wow.
And it's
How many engines does it had?
It has one engine. It's a straight 6.
No, but this original engine?
Original engine. Yeah.
Wow.
Original body. I just got it painted over the winter.
How many miles?
Has 84,000 miles.
That's it?
Yes.
it,
And
yeah.
The kids call me Mustang Daddy.
Now, how many times has it
I like
changed
it.
hands?
How many times what?
Did you buy it originally?
No, yes, I did. I bought it in New Hampshire. I had only, this was a second owner. So I'm the
Second
third
owner,
owner, yeah.
third owner.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
Great.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a
And,
real jewel.
What color did you paint it?
Same color, original color. It's like a sky blue.
Yeah.
And,
Nice.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
so-
it's a great looking vehicle. Now that I've completely,
and sorry I didn't include it in any of my literature, but it was risky. I didn't want
that's
anybody to
all
get the wrong impression.
all right, you're forgiven. You're forgiven. It was pretty
Fantastic.
good. But it was
Okay, well, the human aspect part's gone. Now you can talk about the issues.
all right. No, we got to the usual. We say, I'll give the candidate the opportunity to sort of say,
Yeah.
what gets you into this?
Oh, well, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you, Susan and Robert, for having me on your show.
We're so happy you're here.
Yes, yes. And Robert, your website has enabled our campaign for quite some time now. Whenever we need some information and we want accurate
Well,
information,
now-
we go to your website.
Now-
So thank you.
Now, Dennis, you do understand that by claiming that you're actually going there for information, that is an invitation for me to ask you quiz questions now, right?
Oh,
Uh-oh,
well,
yep, here we go.
well, not necessarily myself, but my campaign staff.
We've
right,
been
right,
waiting
right.
for this
All right,
moment.
okay.
Okay, go.
But you know, thank you for having me on your show. And you know, my campaign from the beginning was really about trying to connect our residents with this innovation economy that we have booming right in our backyard. You know, literally, 300 or 400 yards from where we're sitting right now. And this morning, I actually had the opportunity to go to the Microsoft Nerd Center, where they were holding a breakfast around the very issue that's at the heart of my campaign, which is the importance of STEM training. And now we call it STEAM. We had the A for arts because I think
Yeah.
the arts is an important part of it. But the governor's office was there. Mayor Davis was there, who's been doing a lot of work this year around STEAM. And I really applaud her efforts. And, I actually knocked on her door the other day and I left her a little note. She wasn't home. And I said, that I wanted to continue those efforts because that's really.
I heard her #1 vote is freed up this
Oh,
year.
well, that's good. That's good. That's good. We won't tell you where that vote's going, but so there were a number of.
Maybe she'll write her
express-
name in. You never know.
That's a possibility. Yeah.
I think a
Sorry,
lot of
Dennis.
people. I think a lot of people do that in Cambridge.
Yeah.
So what I heard this morning was that they were sounding an alarm that if we don't begin to really train, our young men and women and our children for this economy that's right in our backyard, that we potentially are going to lose a lot of jobs and a lot of companies here in our city and in our region. Over the next 10 years, 80% of the jobs that we're going to see are going to be STEM related. And one of the key issues that I see in our city is that, we are dealing with a lot of, poverty. I mean, we have a great city, and I'm definitely grateful for everything the city's done for me. But, we have children and families that are living in poverty, and the best way to move them out of poverty into the middle class is to give them job opportunities through training. And this is going to take a partnerships. We have to mobilize the private industry. We have to mobilize our neighborhoods, our schools, our parents. And I want to be a leader in that, and trying to bridge all the different segments of our community, and so that we can really push forward and get more people into that economy.
Yeah, actually, just as an observer at candidate forums, I have to say you've probably been the one who's spoken most about the central theme of jobs for local folks here. So I have to acknowledge that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And that's something that I really hear from a lot of the families and really in all parts of the city, whether I'm in East Cambridge or North Cambridge, particularly the long-time families, who feel, the children have graduated high school, gone on to college, come back to the city and can't find work.
Right.
I was looking at a statistic the other day where we have more underemployment now than we did, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So
So I want to point out, we kind of have to wind up here right now. So.
Tell people who you are and what you want from them on what date.
So
Hurry
so
up.
this election is nearing. It's on.
You got 5 seconds.
November 5th. Please give me your #1 vote. If you have any questions, go to our website, votebenzan.com, and thank you for having me.
Thank you.
See you next.
And this
Thanks
is
a lot,
Cambridge
Dennis.
Inside Out.